that just looking and analyzing these 20 works out of over 50 works that we received, it was absolutely fascinating to see how, you know, one single thought or idea or a model that we sent composers to created such a diversity of works, of color, of different perceptions, different imagination, different, they are completely different, and it's just fascinating to see what human imagination can do and how far it can take us. I'd like to invite Marcus Blunt now to come among us somehow. Now, the two Serenades are kind of reminiscences, memories from holidays, and one was in South Wales somewhere,
yeah, it was.
And one was in foggy Venice, you say.
Yeah.
Would you like to take us through? Would you like to? Yes, we are here to. Would you like my music, Claire?
Maybe do for you is to show you quite simply how I come about creating the harmonies that I write in my music, because they're a strange mixture really of traditional and non-traditional sort of sound worlds, and it's a very simple concept. I make my music out of chords of diminishing intervals. In other words, going down a semitone, then a whole tone, then a minor third, major third, etc. You get some very harmonious sounds, but if you carry on going down, you then go into a completely opposite sort of sound world, which is really as far away a key as you can possibly get. They're that far apart, the augmented fourth or diminished fifth, as we call it, traditionally known as the devil in music. So you get this kind of, those kind of chords. Now, supposing you go on until you get you've run out, you can then, I'll move it down, you can then widen out the intervals. And you get a minor key sort of sound. And then going up further, you go into another completely opposite minor sound world. So my harmonies are all made from these sort of sounds. I can, for instance, pick out alternate notes, so missing out odd numbered or even numbered notes, whatever, you can get sounds like that. So it's quite a harmonious sort of sound world I like to create, but I like to think it's very individual, and it's reached the stage really where I think in this harmonic world completely naturally. It's just totally natural to me, and my melodies start becoming made in this way. So for instance, the first Serenade starts with which is the start of going down, and then it goes up. So it's a very simple concept, and I just hope it comes across as being different rather than just doing all the ordinary chords. It's my own take on tonality, if you like. I must admit I've never been drawn to the world of Schoenberg, for instance, with his 12-note system, because it's always seemed to me that the harmonies that he created are totally random sounding, because they're just mathematically derived. Coming perhaps to the two serenades in more detail, the first one, yes, was inspired really by a holiday. I was in a lovely part of South Wales, the Gower coast, and the melodies just came into my head, and I use the word melody quite a lot because this is how I do start my music. I start from a little melodic idea and develop it in a relatively traditional way, I suppose, but with my own individual harmonies. I was wondering if I might ask the players to do the beginning of the first of the two serenades.
Would you like to stop us, or would you like to
maybe just the first section for example, just before the separation. Or maybe the first 16 lines to stop there. So I think this is a good sort of demonstration of how I create my music. I start with a simple melodic idea and just develop it using my own harmonies. Breaks off, and then a second melody starts. Perhaps you should wait till the concert forms to hear the rest of that one.
Yes, this is the idea, is to discover the whole piece in the concert, so I hope you are able to stay for the concert.
Moving on to the second serenade, in a way this is a serenade to the city of Venice, because as Anda was saying, I was on a holiday in autumn in Venice, which is an unusual time to go there, and it was a particularly foggy day, and I was just standing by the Grand Canal, and this opening melody of this one just came into my head. And just in the same way as the first serenade, it builds up for a while and then suddenly breaks off, and a completely different melody starts off. And this is actually me quoting myself, because this is a tune from a piece I wrote back in 1983 called Venice Suite, which was written for a brass ensemble, a school's brass ensemble trip to Venice. And in those days I didn't use these harmonies of mine quite so rigorously, so systematically, and I was going to ask Anda if she could play the way I harmonised it for the brass ensemble, and then maybe the players could start from this point in the score, which is it's the più sostenuto. Is that bar 17? 12, sorry. So maybe you can start with there, just to show the complete difference in the two ways in which I use this melody. Very traditional kind of harmonies, and if the players would play for me from the più sostenuto in this movement, you'll hear a completely different version of this.
Sorry, I make up your music as I go along.
So if you want to just play one from the più sostenuto. clearly how completely differently I treated the same material when I revisited it quite a long number of years later in this very recent piece which I wrote just 2 years ago. There is just a bit of a Messiaen connection in a way, because I was very struck as a student by the power of Messiaen's harmonies, wonderful harmonies that he wrote, and his system of writing really did appeal to me. His modes of limited transposition, and he created a wonderful harmonic world, I think, which has got a very, very individual flavour. So in a way, by trying to create my own harmonic system, I was really trying to emulate Messiaen. Although my sound world is rather different, but still quite harmonious, isn't we?
Definitely. Now, I'll just point out to this little thing we discussed between the two of us before. It so happens that I was playing a chord and a single note, and then another single note, and holding the other notes down. I thought it was very poetical and beautiful until Marcus said to me, but you see, I wanted those 3 notes to be played as a chord again, which will sound like this. And I said, no, I don't think, I think it's more poetic if I just... And I just hold them down. And little things like this, you see, I mean, I did it without thinking, it's my instinct which went like that. And of course now it's up to Marcus.
Which version I prefer now.
I'm not sure either, but there is where we need to talk to the composers. And since we cannot talk, I mean, I just try to imagine, having met already a number of composers now during a project, I'm trying to imagine how it would have been to meet Beethoven, you know, and ask him questions. Anyway, we are delighted to play these 2 serenades.
Thank you.
So we are looking forward to doing them in a performance.
Thank you very much.